Greetings, fellow citizens of Disneyland. Brickey here. Today's adventure, how a new Star Wars trading post could mean a whole new mission for downtown Disney and the post-COVID era. Back in the first week of December, when the Disneyland Resort was no longer allowed by rules to the state of California to have food or drink at the resort, I started to wonder, once we get our way through holiday sales, what will the Disneyland Resort have left to attract customers to keep coming back over and over again? Without holiday sales, how could they get their guests to keep returning to the resort? Which really made me wonder, how far would Disney be willing to go to find that next new thing that would make fans say, that's it, I gotta get back to Disneyland, and truly give fans a reason to feel like it was time to make another journey out to the Disneyland Resort, even though they might not have any items that they feel like they need to buy for themselves or any gifts for their loved ones. And now we see Disney's first major play in the new year in a resort that has no indication when it can get back to selling food, selling beverage, and opening the parks. We don't even talk about that anymore. And I am really shocked by this news because I feel like this could be one step toward a huge play for the future of the Disneyland Resort, more specifically, downtown Disney becoming a pseudo third gate. But before I get too spun out on the magic, let's get to the facts. It was announced this Sunday, an interesting day to do a press release, over on the Disney Parks blog, that the Star Wars trading post that had taken over the Wonderground Gallery back in September was moving to the west side of the park. It didn't take very long for everybody who, as soon as you read that, said they're going into the old Rainforest Cafe, which folks like myself had wondered, why didn't they take the Rainforest Cafe right out of the gate? We'll get to that in a bit. But also folks like me, as of last week, said there's no way they're going to do this. They won't be making this type of financial investment into downtown Disney. Why would they go this hard into building a retail space for a Star Wars store that's probably temporary? But is it? Because another breaking news we had this week is that the annual pass program has been sunsetted, which I believe means the sun has set. We're going to go through a moment of darkness, a blackout period, if you will, but the sun will rise again. How is Disney going to take care of their guests in this transitional period? So when we learned that the Star Wars Trading Post was going into the old Rainforest Cafe space, that got many fans, myself included, very excited. But I started to focus not necessarily on the Star Wars store or the Trading Post, but what is this play saying to us about the future of the Disneyland Resort? Now, first off, I believe that in this opening stage, they'll just be taking over the lower level of the Rainforest Cafe, the area that used to be the gift shop when it was the Rainforest Cafe. This is a massive building in scale. Your Star Wars heart will be broken if you're expecting to go there in the next month or two and see this entire space outfitted into a Star Wars experience. I believe that just like everything else we've seen lately, this will be done in small steps. So expect it to be the ground level and probably just the old store. I don't think that we will see the entire building right out of the gate Star Wars themed. But good news, they did say in their press release that Disney Imagineers worked on this design. That says they were willing to spend some money and willing to spend some effort. And this isn't a 4 months, 6 months until we get the park back open, until we can get guests back in Batu. This is just a patch to hold us over. It sounds like it's a worthy investment. And when there's Imagineering involved, you know that means there's going to be a theme, there's going to be a story. We were told that it's going to be a hidden jungle resistance base, that we would see Rey's iconic speeder parked out front. I believe that's going to be the prop that was inside of Star Wars Launch Bay. And many fans are predicting that this will take place on the jungle planet of Yavin 4. I personally, I'm a big Yavin 5 guy, but I'll take a Yavin 4. I mean, it is a pandemic, which also features many similar Mayan type structures in a jungle environment. A pretty dead ringer for the space, the skeleton left behind by the Rainforest Cafe. Now, one of the many good side effects of this is that the Wonderground Gallery was announced to reopen, but it will this time feature secondary Disney merchandise. And to me, this just says we're sitting on a ton of merchandise, whether it be World of Disney, the stores inside of DCA, the sidewalks in DCA, the backlot premiere shop, aka Old School Studio 17, or whether it's in the Wonderground Gallery, we've got Spirit jerseys, we're ready to move them. But one would make you think, if the Wonderground Gallery's coming back, and now Star Wars is going into the Rainforest Cafe, why didn't this plan start here? And to me, this is where all of this gets wildly fascinating. Back in September, when Wonderground went away, literally overnight, That is your answer. And even in my video reviewing why did they do this, I came to the conclusion that it was so fast, so dare I say sloppy and very, very temporary looking that it wasn't a long-term play. It was how do we move Star Wars merchandise for holiday 2020 as quickly as possible? And with it being literally an overnight switch out, there's your answer. Anything else would have been a lot of work and they were just hitting a moving target, which is holiday sales. And it worked. One of the major gifts I bought this holiday season was a lightsaber for my nephew. Yes, he loved it. But I have to say, this pop-up store, even though it was a slop-up store in the old Wonderground Gallery, it crushed. I have still been going to the resort every single week, and the specialty stores, Off the Page, the Star Wars Trading Post, these smaller niche stores are the ones that always demand a queue out front. These are the type of things that Disney fans really love to shop when it's that boiled down to one specific interest versus the world of Disney Studio 17 where it's just a grab bag of everything Disney. Disney fans really enjoy a curated shopping experience. So to me, this says we passed our test, we met our goal of holiday 2020, it is now time to move on to a bigger test. And while we're at it, let's put in some money, let's add in some theming and give fans a little bit more of a Disneyland experience. So my thought process is, if this smaller Rainforest Cafe takeover, if this passes the test, there are so many options and so many directions that this little experiment can go into. For example, a much more expanded retail space, that's probably the cheapest and easiest to predict. But where it all gets wildly fascinating, what if they were to give you a Star Wars dining experience? Remember, there were plans drawn up for a Star Wars themed restaurant to happen inside of Galaxy's Edge, which was one of the projects that quietly at the end, they just didn't talk about anymore. That's been planned. There are drawings for that. There are concepts for that. Could this be something months or years down the road that would land in this location? Could we also see a second cantina that has been mentioned in the Star Wars virtual reality game? There's a lot of property here that is at play if this test passes. But why I think this is huge news for things moving forward is that the annual pass program is put on pause, forced by the pandemic, forced by the state of California and just common sense of having a lower capacity, but also a system that needed a hard reboot. Watch my video about that. I break down why it's nothing to get upset about. Yes, it is sad. Yes, it is heartbreaking, but I do believe good days lie ahead. But how no APs relates to this shop announcement, with there being no more annual passes, with so many people that love Disneyland and have incorporated it into a monthly, weekly, daily visit, Disneyland has to find a way to retain these customers. And with people being able to afford less visits to the park when it's a buy a ticket every time you visit, also with less capacity and not always being able to win the reservation lottery, there is now a demand to try to service the hardest of hardcore. As they even said in their statement, our biggest fans. So with less access to Disney's California Adventure and to Walt's original Magic Kingdom Disneyland, it would seem to me that making downtown Disney more of an enriched experience is the play to keep people happy on a day that they can't get into one of the gated parks. Because for so many of us in Southern California, going to Disneyland is our preferred entertainment option. It is how we like to spend our entertainment time, and most importantly for them, our entertainment dollars. And how else are they going to expect the hardest of hardcore fans to buy the new merchandise, which is why the park is there, to sell merch? How are we going to buy the new items in Galaxy's Edge when we can't go as often? And when we have to spend a hard ticket cost to get in the gate, all of a sudden when Disneyland's not free for the day, you're going to spend your money a little bit differently, unless you're going to downtown Disney and able to shop at a rival but too experiential store. So what I'm saying to you is this: keep an eye on what Disneyland is doing, not necessarily what they're saying, because they have an amazing poker face. They're not going to tell you anything, but they are making small steps, which I believe, and this isn't anything that's going to happen overnight, but they do need to find a way to service these customers that currently are feeling a little emotionally locked out of this thing that they love. They want that revenue. They want those fans. They just don't have the perfect way to entertain them. But do they? So when this new store opens, these are things to keep an eye out for. Is it just all the stuff they took out of Launch Bay and just made sort of a hodgepodge entertainment offering? Or did they get Imagineers involved, make new props, and try to tell us a new story? If it's just stuff from Launch Bay, then maybe I'm just getting excited about nothing. But if there are new props out there, if we are being told a new story, to me it says this is a perfect time to experiment. How experiential can we make downtown Disney? So the amount of commitment that we see, I believe, will show if we give people a little bit more, can we get a little bit more back? Can we create this bond that going to downtown Disney can be a fulfilling experience, even if you don't get a park visit? Because there are Imagineers involved in the project. To me, it already sounds serious. It already sounds like a worthy Disneyland investment and a big experiment to see how all of this could play moving forward. And also, they didn't give a date. If this was just, we're going to take some stuff from Launch Bay, we'll see you on Friday. They're really at projecting and committing deadlines. Disney can hit a deadline like nobody's business. So the fact that this is like, hey, this is something that's happening, I believe it's one, to keep the lines of communication open, because right now the park is an absolute ghost town with no food and beverage and no holiday sales. It's really on life support. So I believe it's a way to have something to talk about, but also they know that very soon there's going to be projects, construction going on, and this is a way to just get people excited instead of confused. And it's also a really good way to reverse engineer the heat that was created on Sam. By the way, this AP, this thing you love more than anything, it's gone. So the fact that this is going to take a while, they don't know their date, and there's Imagineers involved, they're telling us there's going to be props. It sounds like it's going to be a pretty serious build out. The more serious the build out, I say a better indication that things could be going away, where downtown Disney is going to get a whole lot more love and be looked at as a new experience. Because I do really feel like this is a big test on what downtown Disney can do, because after all, it has done so much of the heavy lifting during the pandemic. And all the lines, all the people showing up, I mean, it was buzzing before the food got pulled out of it. Really does show that a lot of people like myself just want to be adjacent to the magic. And I never really knew how awesome downtown Disney was until that was all the Disney that I had. So this idea, can we make downtown Disney a third gate? Let me just get clear. I'm not predicting that they're going to put attractions in downtown Disney. What I am predicting, though, can they make it more of a hardcore, curated Disneyland customer experience? To where if you can't get into the park due to capacity, or you can't afford to buy another ticket, can you still go to downtown Disney? Can you have a standalone experience in that plot of land? Can you fill up some of that space, some of that love, and spend some of that money that you were spending as a former annual pass holder? And can they give you a good reason to keep returning and keep feeling like as long as you're there, you're part of the community that you love? And most importantly, is there a way they can get the hardest of hardcore to keep spending while they're iced out with no annual pass program? This is a very transitional state for the resort in a time of no annual passes, where guests are having to buy individual tickets or get ticket combos. There are going to be a lot of people that want to go to the park more than they can budget or actually get granted access. Making downtown Disney have more Disney-like experiences could be a game changer to get over this hump, to make the resort stronger, and to give hardcore fans an ability to still feel the magic during this wild time. This could be a very tiny step into the next chapter of downtown and what the entire resort looks like post COVID-19. I could be jumping way ahead, but just think about it. They're putting money in, they're building a bit of an experience, they're committing pretty hardcore into downtown Disney, and there are a couple of big problems that they have coming up on the horizon on how to keep their most loyal and most dedicated fans returning and spending. I don't know. I've thought of crazier things. I've been right before. I've been wrong before. We'll have to see where it goes. Friends, let me know. What do you think? Am I getting crazy here, or is this starting to make sense that it could be a kicking of the tires of a new program that could maybe see downtown Disney shaping into something that is a holdover on days that you can't get into the two parks? Could it be Third Gate Light? Let me know what you think. Please follow along with the channel. Give me a big thumbs up. And friends, until the next time I see you inside of this Resistance jungle base, I'll see you back here on the channel with more Disneyland news. Thank you for watching.